Check light tanks, crew perks, and more. Common test, yada yada yada. Check light tanks featuring autocannon mechanics, new random events, 18 rebalanced vehicles from 3 branches, new onslaught, and variety of refined random maps. Check light tanks with new firing mechanics. This I'm excited about. New line consists of 4 swift flankers designed for striking the enemy's sides, and yeah, oh god, ranging from tier 7 to tier 10. The transition begins at the Skoda T25. You can see the text tree here. High-tier vehicles are represented by the Blishk, the Silma, and the Tessak. Tessak? The Skoda T17 is a transitional vehicle with good armor for a light tank, decent dynamics, but without any outstanding gameplay features. However, the branches tier 8 to 10 vehicles will have autocannons with unique firing mechanics. They say it's got good armor for a light tank. I disagree. Look, we are in a world, okay, where the LT-432 is a tier 8 light tank, and the LTDB exists. This is not good armor for a light tank. I don't know what you're feckin' smoking. This is tier 7. The LTDB, is the LTDB tier 7 or tier 8 now? LTDB is tier 8. Look at this. This is good armor for a light tank. 140 on the upper plate, 100 on the lower plate, 100 on the turret. What about the LT-432? Potentially the best tier 8 conventional light tank in the game. What are we looking at in terms of armor? 140, 130, 160 on the turret. This does not have good armor for a light tank. That is complete bollocks. Autocannons can be compared to machine guns of lower tier vehicles, though they're quite different from them and have a range of special hallmarks. Extremely rapid fire, shells and cassettes that require reloading. Potential damage per cassette is up to 900 HP. Now, one thing that I did observe, which was very interesting, that 900 HP is consistent throughout the tiers. As far as I saw, you get, 840 potential on the tier 8. Let's see, what do you get on the tier 9? On the tier 9, 900. On the tier 10, I am guessing 900 once again. It's fairly damn consistent, and one thing I do also want to note, premium shells do less damage. I'm not kidding you. Look at this gun. This is consistent all the tiers. AP, 192 pen, 12 damage. 247 pen with APCR does 9. And apparently they cost the same as normal rounds. Hang on. Shell cost 32, and down here, 36. Almost the same. I mean, they are more expensive, to be sure. You're going to be fighting a lot of them, but that's really interesting. I really like that as a mechanic. Relatively low armor pen due to the low caliber of the gun. I like this. Right? They're not damaging heavies frontally, which is nice. Light tank gameplay. Mind the dispersion. It will steadily increase during a burst, so it makes sense to fire bursts at medium to long range. This is worded a little oddly. What it's saying is basically you're like a Lux. In the Lux, before and after the changes, you don't hold down the fire button. Right? You go boom, boom, boom. That's what it means by bursts at medium to long range. Imagine if you're right up behind someone's booty, you can just right into their rectum. So that's going to be fun. Cause damage at close range. Accuracy also decreases as the range to the target grows. That's how accuracy works. Rapid fire draws attention. Your camo values become lower than those of typical light tanks once you start firing. Let's look into this, shall we? Camo after firing goes down to 2%. Let's look at the Sheridan. Probably the worst camo on the tier 10 light tank. Goes from 14 to 2.17. So it has worse camo than the Sheridan when firing. I will add, this is not a balancing mechanic. Bad camo after firing is not a balancing mechanic of the game. It's the same reason why camo nets are irrelevant in the game at the moment, and you should never use them for any circumstance whatsoever. You assume when you fire that you are going to get spotted, and if you know that you're at a distance where you will get spotted, then before you fire, you reverse behind foliage and you fire through it. A drop in camo matters very little in the vast majority of situations if you are a good player and you're utilizing camo and positioning well. So that is not a justifiable balancing mechanic for a light tank to have. It doesn't matter for the kind of gameplay that this vehicle exhibits in. Crew evolution, new perk system. This is vastly similar to the crew update system that I have a video on already, so I won't go into a huge amount of detail on these mechanics here. We already know most of them, and I covered them there. We do have some changes. Emergency is taking the crew efficiency bonus from 7.5, which was a huge bonus, to only 5%, which is BIA. Right, so still big, but not as bad. And this is one of the skills that I did not like, so I'm pleased to see it receive a nerf. Quick aiming increases aiming speed formerly by 2.5, now increases aiming speed and turret rotation by 2.5. So this would be big on things like a Hellcat, for example. American talented TDs, T-30, Hellcat, some of the British mid-tier TDs with really painful challenge traverse speeds will be assisted greatly by this. Reliable placement increases HE shell damage absorption by 7.5, damage from falling reduced by 30%. Now it reduces HE damage, or increases HE damage absorption by 10%. I don't know what that means. Signal interception decreases, this is like making your sixth sense better, decreases the time to determine whether your vehicle has been spotted by formerly 0.5 seconds, now 0.75 seconds. This is still really kind of irrelevant. The only niche use you might have for this is in a Clan Wars environment, if you are utilizing a forward scout to obtain information and you're playing against a CVS, EBR, or something like that. But even then, it's only useful in a passive circumstance, because the majority of the time you're going to be watching for a proxy, and then knowing that you've been spotted anyway. So this is just not a useful skill thing, in my opinion. I don't see anyone using this well. Practicality decreases consumable cooldown time by formerly 7.5, now 10%. Fine, it's really good skill, but fine. Comprehensive vehicle rebalancing. Now, this is interesting, very interesting. Continuing to update vehicle performance characteristics, making them more competitive. We've taken a comprehensive approach in reviewing in 3 branches the logic of different modules, vehicle stock configs, and 5 premium vehicles. Rebalancing of 3 branches. We're primarily focusing on rebalancing tier 10 vehicles, which are the pinnacle. These selected branches have tanks with outdated characteristics that haven't been updated in a long time and have become less popular. These branches clearly need performance updates and will start from tier 5 and end with the top vehicle. This list, I agree with. The K91 certainly has been irrelevant almost since it came out. The M48 pattern is a good vehicle, but it's not had a place among the competitive tier 10 mediums. And the Batchat has been slowly falling out of favour. Still a good tank in its own right, but just not anywhere close to the meta anymore. The quantity and assortment of vehicle modules and upgrade paths in these branches will be revised starting from tier 5. Optimization aims to make the upgrade process more efficient and understandable. Less useful modules will be removed. So your radios that don't lead anywhere, your guns that are off to the side but are worse or better than others, right? These things are being removed, which is good in my opinion. As funny as it is to have some setup like that, it is good to streamline them and remove unnecessary fluff from the tech tree. All removed modules will be moved to the depot, where you can either sell them or mount them on different vehicles. Note that one specific module, the cannon on the AMX ELC BIS, will be entirely removed from the game. Rest in peace. If this cannon is mounted on a tank, it'll be replaced with a stock module. If it's in the depot, it will be sold for the cost in credits. Enhanced stock config. So, across these 3 rebalanced branches, improvements will vary, with some receiving more and others less, but all will be improved in some way. So all of the vehicles within tier 5 to 10 of these lines will be better stock. So it'll be a better experience to grind through this line, which is nice. Some outdated stock modules will be replaced with new ones with improved configs. This change will make it more comfortable for you to start playing in new vehicles, creating a high quality gameplay experience in specific vehicles without jumping directly to top configs. Performance improvements for premium vehicles. WZ111 Model 6. This is a tier 8 premium Chinese heavy tank. It is largely irrelevant. It's kind of like a 112, but with a little worse frontal armor, a pike nose, and it goes 50. It's got augmented rotation and turret speed, better aiming time, increased piercing power, make the tank more agile. So it's got a pen buff, aim slightly faster, traverses slightly faster. Auto AMX 30. Didn't feel like this thing needed a buff. I felt like it was alright. Traverse is faster, DPM buff, and turret moves faster. Increased damage output. Alpha damage buff? Maybe? Thick 9 pattern. This was probably in need of a buff. Reduced aiming time. Higher damage. Alpha damage buff. And armor. Okay. Do we have a top hat improvement? Maybe. Are these changes modeled? Let's see. Well, I don't think this is improved armor. Maybe it is. But I mean, gun mantle is still a hole. And also that. AMX cannon, I don't think this thing needed a buff. Faster vehicle move. This is already a very fast vehicle, and it also has reasonably trolley armor. Like, if you get top tier in an AMX, yeah, if you get top tier in this AMX, 170 on the upper plate, 200 on the superstructure. It looks weak because I'm shooting at it with the AMX. But if you imagine facing tier 7s and you're face-hugging them, you're being very aggressive, like, you can do a lot with the armor in this thing. So I don't feel like it needed a, it was defensive when it was top tier, when it was bottom tier, and it had the gun to do it. And when it was top tier, it could be aggressive with its mobility and its decent gun and armor. Faster vehicle movement and traverse, reduced aiming and reload time, increased health for improved survivability, and firepower. I'm worried about this. I think this might set this tank a little above what it should be. IS-5, this is fine to receive a buff. Improved movement and rotation speed, so all of these tanks are getting faster, basically. Better turret rotation, reduced aiming time, and a smaller shot dispersion radius, so better dispersion, for better accuracy and mobility. Okay, that's fine. New random events. Cool. On Pilsen, destruction in the central plant. Bombing of the central hangar collapses the roof, creating new gameplay cover with the wreckage. Very good. This is what I like to see. This is exactly what random events should be. You look at a heat map of maps in World of Tanks and you say, okay, where has the least action? Where on this map is not used? The middle, okay, let's do something there. Let's put a random event there so that on some maps we can get this area of the map to be useful. We're not disrupting regular, often common meta gameplay, right, which is solid and works most of the time. Instead, we're taking an area of the map which is no man's land and we're changing it to do something a little different, right? This is what I like. Moving trains. Trains leave from different ends of the map and move across the entire map, providing dynamic gameplay shelter. Is this just constant? Are there just constantly trains going? Because I tell you, the first time I see one, I will take one straight up the ass. Just drive a train, a KV train alongside a train. Oh, it's going to be beautiful. Love the idea. Oh, yeah, trap someone on the tracks at the end of the game. Oh, KV5 train versus train. Yeah. Okay, Malanovka. Plane crashes onto the mountain, breaking into several pieces and colliding with the mill, disrupting the gameplay of the hill on Mali. I am not sure I'd like this. I'd have to look, because the thing about this is if you destroy the mill, it destroys a major mechanic of the power of that position, because basically if there's arty in play on Mali, taking the mill is hugely important because it gives you arty cover and makes the people who didn't take the mill stuck out in the open. Right? So I would like to see that gameplay dynamic still represented after the random event. After the mill gets broken down, the top team still needs to have arty cover. We don't need a random event coming in, taking it out, and meaning that now both teams, even the team that played aggressively and took the high position, are now getting pounded by arty. Right? Generally speaking, not getting pounded by arty or having cover from arty is the reward, if you like, for taking that high position. You get to use that windmill as cover while peeking around and poking people as they try to come up to you. Right? That's why the windmill is powerful, and I don't like the idea that something's going to disrupt it. If I was going to implement a random event on Mali, I would try and make the lower pass more useful. Instead of influencing the fight where the windmill is, which is important and has a meta established, the low ground just below that isn't really that useful. Like, no one fights in the middle of it. It's either you go around and try and get some fire into the air, you're potentially exposed to the flank. I'd like to see a random event happen there. Thing crashes on the side like a blimp and covers the side entirely. So there's no shots from the mid up to the side of the hill anymore. Alright, so people can freely go down and use those positions without getting shot from crossfire. That would be interesting and would enhance it more favorably than this in concept, but I haven't seen it. So, Corellia, a selection of rocks is bombarded, causing a rock slide that blocks the main straight shot. Corellia needs a lot of things, and to be quite honest, a random event is not one of them, but I have nothing against this random event. The rocks come down here, and they block the shot line from here to this corner. So they come down in the middle and they block this, which will be interesting. I think it will switch up the hill fight a little. I don't think it's bad at all. Nogs107, thank you very much for the sub, much appreciated. Map reworking. Okay, like our vehicle rebalance efforts, we're continuing to improve your gameplay experience by working various maps. Airfield. Ongoing rework has led to improvements across 8 random battle locations. Most notable and extensive changes have been made to Mannerheim Line. Shoreline adjustments, chat. Many of you, or some of you, may know that the only recourse, or the only justifiable way to attack from the northeast base down from the south is to navigate a very dangerous path under here, and you've got to wiggle, and you'll probably drown if you're me, all the way over here to get into this position. If you get here, you can disrupt the inherent multi-level engagement that the enemy have by having tanks here, 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 here. Like, it's basically impossible to attack from here, unless the enemy just suck. What I would like to see is Wargaming allowing that. Allowing that with maybe a way along here, but you get exposed to crossfire at certain points in it. But you can get to that position, and it's clear to people when they look at that flank that you can get to that position. That needs to be a dynamic of the team. And they also need to open up a way to assault the northeast base, because the northeast base on Mannerheim Line is one of the strongest defensive positions in the entire game. I am hard-pressed to name a map that is easier to defend your cap circle on outside of perhaps Lakeville. Let's have a look at this. A win. That is actually gold. That is actually way better. They fucking understood the assignment. What the hell? I mean, this is TD position, right? There to there. But still, this is way better. Bushes are still, bushes are still present at the back there. But that is way better. That is way better. Because now this path is actually a viable source of attack for digging people out from these forward positions behind here, putting fire into here, right? That is a really good change. On the Arctic region map, they need an random Yeti to come out onto the battlefield and yak enemies. Oh, northern-based LT positioning. The light tank positioning in the middle square at D5 has been improved, making it safer and comparable to the western team's light tanks in square E4, which I'm guessing is here? Wait, okay. So before, there was a bush here, and after there's a... I guess you can more safely get to this bush? It looks like this will offer some level of cover from the hill position. I'm not sure what they were attempting to achieve here. A lot of places needed changing on Mannerheim Line. I'm not sure that the middle was one of them beyond being a bit of no man's land. But I mean, you don't change a position being no man's land by changing the position. You change the areas of the map that make it no man's land, which in the case of Mannerheim Line is the high ground directly above it. Oh well. Okay. Defensive position weakened. The powerful defensive position of the north base blocking access to the enemy's base has been weakened. Trees near the cliff edge and square B8 has been removed, and the dragon's teeth have been partially destroyed to allow a more comfortable move to the north base along the cliff edge. This is good. This is good. I agree with you, Chauncey. But this is a good change. Very good change. People could work stealth on that corner without being spotted, and it made the approach even harder. This is a very good change. This is, to be clear, this base is still a very strong position, and from a defensive standpoint, it has a massive advantage over the western base. But this is a good change. It's a step in the right direction. It will make the approach slightly easier, and it will make it harder to defend for people on this corner. it's still really easy to defend because all you need to do is put one tank there and one tank out wide on the left here in that position, and you have an unassailable crossfire, basically. But yeah, it makes it infeasible for people to sit here in stealth and just dirt people as they try and make a move. So it at least encourages offensive play, which is nice. Other changes to Mannheim Line. Underwater slope. Underwater slope has been improved, making it easier to escape the water without drowning. Who would drown? Firing position adjustments. Previously in square G... Okay, do I have my map in square J8? So J8... here. Really, I liked people drowning there. It was funny. In position G4, players could shoot over the rocks through the bushes. This shot is now blocked. G4. G4. So they could shoot over the rocks through the bushes. TDs need to expose themselves before firing. So I guess the corner has been sharpened a little. So if you want to take shots, you have to be exposed to crossfire spots. Okay. Passage safety. Eastern team players ascending would often take damage from a TD position on F4, which is here. The arc has been slightly shifted, allowing safer passage. So I'm guessing this means the approach here, and maybe this arc has come wider, or there's an arc here, or there's less of a shot from a TD position onto this area is what I'm getting. G4 is below that. Oh, G4. Oh, from here to... here to here? Okay, fortified position weakening. Heavily fortified position in square A0, which is up here, which hindered advances towards the enemy base, has been weakened. Bushes have been moved closer to the red line, making it easier to spot players in that position. Okay, very good, very good, very good. That did need a nerf. Enemy team have no equivalent position at K1, or at least not a good one. Good changes to Mannheim Line. Very good changes. Alright. Upper heavy tank subdirectionally designed, where F6 now has many protected positions at various distances, allowing you to push through and reduce the distance towards enemies. This is good. The heavy tank fight on Oyster Bay has always been frustrating because it was stagnated by the presence of TDs on the other side. So what I'd like to see here is this lock go away and there be two or three locks. Like maybe extend this one to here, have a gap there. This lock goes here, have a gap in the middle, make it kind of like Mountain Pass. The heavy tank flank on Mountain Pass does have you exposed to fire from the middle, but it's tentative, it's occasional, right? It's in certain key positions. So that's what you want to replicate here. Oh, bunkers though. Okay. Okay, so these locks are just about the fight from this way to this way. The cover from sort of bottom to top, that fire is blocked by a bunker and a lock. That is good. That is a very good change. Cave connection. There's a cave? I love caves! A cave now connects the upper and central subdirections in square F6, offering more varied gameplay, but allowing direction changes. And, please, allowing us to block people in caves for lols. Ooh! Oh, it's a big cave, though. Can it not be a little cave? I want only the ELC even 90 to be able to go in it. Okay, that's cool. That's a good change. So that's here. It's straight up and it looks like there's a little depression here, so you could maybe get away with taking something like a even 90 through here without getting spotted by people wise. Steve shows up Night Pig. Yeah, I'll be in the cave. It's my Night Pig cave. Shoreline terrain rework. Nice. Cover's been added. Good, good, good. Okay, so the lay of the land comes up in the middle, giving you a bit more viable cover. This lock gets higher. Looks like the bush, the light tank bush, has been moved out into the open. So it's more of a commitment for the light tanks to get into it, is what I'm seeing. See this bush on the right side here? It's to the right, after, and before, after. Before, after. Alright, so the light tank bush is further to the right. That does influence gameplay. It means it's more of a commitment to go to because it's further away from cover. Right? If you get spotted, it will take longer to retreat into a safe position. Perhaps they felt it was too powerful and stagnating gameplay. I'm fine with that. Everything else looks solid, just raised the land a little bit and added a little bit more cover to progression on this flank, which I think is good. Other changes, Central heavy tank direction, G6F7, been saved to advancing. Shelter in the center allows you to reduce distance to the enemy gradually. I like this. TD positions weakened. Beautiful. Runway area. Terrain, undulations, hills and bushes have been added to the runway area, encompassing squares E3 to C5 and F4 to D6. Improved gameplay quality for light tanks. Okay. More opportunities for light tanks in the mid. Can't really see them from here. Terrain when you worked. Shoreline when you worked. And more cover added. Okay. Outpost. I like seeing this fight. It's going to be interesting. New positions for heavy tanks have been added in squares B1 to B2, C1 to C2, and A3 to B3, allowing more active movement in this direction. Now, what is the problem with this flank? The problem really is that if there's no arty in the game, it can be stagnated by one tank there and one tank there. I mean, that's basically... This position is kind of really powerful, so I'd like to see this reduced in effectiveness a little bit. That'd be all I'd do. Would it be all I'd do? I'd pull the water back a little bit. I would keep this load, and I'd make a low pass right here. I would make this land lower, and I would pull the sea back to about here. I'd make this land a lower pass that you can go, maybe if you got good gun depression, get some hold-down shots from out wide. Because by having hold-down positions here, it would reduce the effectiveness of these positions because you can close on them and make it a regular close-up fight. Let's see. Okay. That's okay. I like the little dip in the mid. That's gonna switch it up. I can see the land being added here to move these positions back or make them a little less powerful, which is exactly what I wanted. I was not expecting the massive change in the mid though. I kind of like it. House has moved from here to here. Interesting. Okay. Castle zone building. Building has been added in square B3 to block shot lines from center in the castle zone. Okay. So, yeah, this was an imbalance because the mid could shoot at this position, but if the enemy team took the mid, they couldn't shoot at the equivalent position. So a balance change that was needed was either block this shot or open up the shot to the other side, and I guess they considered this easier. The heavy fight is more isolated now. This does nerf the middle of the map quite a bit, but the middle can still influence progression on the higher road, I guess, with a couple of shots, but it does make the middle feel a little less useful. I might have liked to see... I mean, the meta of this map, right, is very much like Mountain Pass. You want your team to take the middle. Why? Why do you want your team to take the middle? Well, because if your team take the middle, then you can use this position. If your team don't take the middle, then you can't, because crossfire is represented by the middle. Like, that was the dynamic of the map. So I don't like this shot being blocked because it undermines the purpose of the middle. I would much rather have seen this town move down so that the middle of the map can influence, regardless of which team takes it, they would have shots on the equivalent high ground heavy tank position, because that gives the middle value. So I don't like this change, and I think it's bad because, yes, it protects the heavy fight, but it undermines the value of the middle, which I feel like was unnecessary. New medium tank position, new positions have been added. These positions will allow you to get closer to opponents on hills. Flooring adjustments, flooring has been moved. Lakeville. Flooring removal in square B1, which made it this is the valley up here, by the way, which made it challenging to detect its SPGs has been removed. It provided a significant... What? Yes. Every time I went up the valley of Lakeville, I was outplayed by an SPG camping in B1. What the fuck? What? Oh no! I was laughing so hard that I minimized the game. Like, what? Oh god, they are all gone. Okay, listen. No one made an impact in the battle by sitting here in anything above tier 6. SPGs don't hide behind this fucking bush. Like, they sit at the back behind the lay of the land cover that is there at distance, and I shit on people in the valley. Lakeville needed more options there. Right there, this giant bottleneck, right? Giant bottleneck. How about you give it another pass? Options. You've made a cave passage on Oyster Bay, why not make a cave straight through from here to the middle of the map? That changes it, literally, make a cave from here to the middle of the map, and that changes Lakeville hugely. Probably in a bad way, to be honest, but it's an idea. Oh god, please. That's it. You removed a bush. Someone looked at Lakeville and said, ah, yes, the bush that some dumbass arty is going to hide behind, one in every 100 games, that's the problem. Okay, let's see. Right, Lakeville. The terrain in squares C2 to D2 has been reduced to simplify spotting and attacking vehicles from the south base in this position. C2, D2. So they made it easier to camp on this hill to attack the bottleneck. Fucking why? 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 This position does not need to be more stagnant. It wins nothing. If it's an encounter cap circle, if it's an encounter game, it's as far away from a method of winning the game as it can possibly be. If it's a standard battle, you can't attack the enemy base by winning the 1-2 line, because all the enemy have to do is put one tank there, one tank there, one tank there, and have arty out there, and they win. Like, you don't win anything by attacking the 1-2 line, which is why it's garbage. It doesn't need to be worse! A new position of bushes has been introduced in square K2 to minimize the risk of taking damage in the mountain gorge due to a limited vehicle detection at long range. A new position of bushes has been added in Dude, this is fucking dumb. I swear to God, they have 3 different teams doing map balance changes this patch. And 2 of them are good, and the other ones are just like, you cannot tell me that the same people that made the changes to Oyster Bay and Mannerheim Line are the people that have made the changes to Lakeville. There is a fundamental misunderstanding of how this map works that has been presented here. They looked at Lakeville and said, yes, the 1-2 line, yeah, that's too valuable. It needs to be harder to attack. It needs to be harder to win the 1-2 line on Lakeville because it's so relevant to the game. Oh my lord, okay. Minor adjustments have been made in following locales: Studzansky, Steps, Tundra and Abbey. List of adjustments: Studzansky. Terrain K6 has been raised to minimize shooting at vehicles from the west. Opportunity to spot vehicles on A5 has been removed from a position in C6 from the house windows. Studzansky needed a lot of adjustments. This is not it. Steps is honestly a mostly fine map. The assault game mode could use a bit of work, but I wouldn't changing Steps purely for the assault game mode if it compromised the standard battle, because standard battle Steps is honestly solid as a map, I think. Heavy tank layout in squares G1, H1 and H2 has been modified to provide new and equal opportunities for both teams. Bushes in squares E1 and J2 have been removed, making it easier to spot vehicles and assess the number of vehicles in the direction. We gotta get the map up. Heavy tank layout in squares G1, H1 and H2. G1, H1, H2. So this area apparently has received a bit of a rework. This area was kind of fine. It was mostly equal. Like, this felt like a fairly balanced fight. Each team had a sort of defensive TD position, and you had this brawl area that you could get into. The North team, you could say, did have a bit of an advantage on it because of this position on the high ground here. So if I was going to balance this flank, what I would do is I would maybe make a lock position on the high ground here that had a cross shot onto this area. That's the only thing I would change. And I would make sure that this is exposed to crossfire from the mid. And probably try and do the same thing for this. So I'd make this lock a little smaller, so it's more exposed to the crossfire from here. I'd make a small lock here that has a line of sight on this area, and I'd make it exposed too far from here. That's really the only thing I'd change. I don't have massive issues with Steps. Bushes in square E1 and J2 have been removed. E1, J2... Wait, you removed the TD bushes? That's... okay. But look, that is a huge change if that's the case. That is a ginormous change. The bush here had huge implications for the push, and it was a skill-based thing when you blind fired and killed people in that position. Like, okay, if you don't like bushes, why are there bushes on the maps? Bushes are important. They increase the value of positions. What is going to use this position now? A heavy tank? Like, you now have 2 heavy tanks back there instead of your TDs? Like, your heavy tanks, instead of pushing, instead of trying to claim this position and go forward, they now sit back there because the TDs aren't there, and you need something to be in that position. I don't know. I don't like that. I don't like that at all. I'm generally a fan of anti-camp maneuvers, but you need some level of defensive counterplaying, right? This position played onto this position quite well. Yeah, I don't know. Don't like it. Okay, a new position has been added for the southern team in square H3. Oh! Mirroring the stone in square. I called it! I'm good at map design. I did a wargaming. And now for Lakeville. Shotline have been removed from D5 on Tundra to the no way in square G9. I think we have Tundra. Should we have a look? We do. Removed from the square D5. Yes, it's where I thought it is. So it's the shot from there to there. The cross shot from the mid to the heavy side. I think this is probably a good change for the most part. It does make the fight feel a little more balanced because there isn't an equivalent position. It was never that damaging because, believe it or not, I feel like this team's defensive positions back here are stronger than the northern team's defensive position. Northern team has, a bush on the corner here, bit of high ground, and they can work in these positions and these positions. The southern team here have these bushes on the high, right here. In fairness, there's positions here as well, but they have position here, they have locks to cover behind here, they have a position in low ground out wide here behind the layer of the land cover, which is unappreciated as a holding capacity for this flank, and they have TDs at the back and positions here as well. I feel like this team gets a more defensive boon to them when it comes to this flank, so I feel like this position actually kind of balances that out a little bit. I am not mad about that position being here because of the dynamics of this flank. Yes, this was a position that the north team could damage the south team, and the south team did not have an equivalent position. But that's not always a bad thing. If a flank is inherently weighted towards one side or another, then a position like this can serve to balance it out if it's played correctly. So I don't necessarily agree with this, but I can understand the logic that led them to that decision. Abbey, flora removal. Removing bushes again. Let's be clear, while the tanks have never had less bushes in it, that's for the most part a good thing. I mean, you saw the damage it did when they added bushes to Cornelia. Flora removal is dangerous. C1 has been removed. It's previously allowed funny spotting and damaging of the south team's vehicles in G1. Did it? Okay, hands up, chat. Who has ever sat in a bush in C1 and shot the heavies at G1? So I've never done it. Maybe someone in chat's like, damn, they're onto me. No? Yeah. With a Type 5. Yeah, that's a mystery to me. I mean, the good thing is it's not going to be hugely disruptive. I didn't even know it was a thing. Onslaught. I don't play Onslaught, so I'm gonna skip over this. Anything I say about it would just be pointless because I don't play it. Consumables update. To amplify your gameplay comfort and effectiveness, we're unifying and upgrading the small and large repair kits and first aid kits in update 1.26. Currently, they serve similar functions, but small consumables are less convenient. Well, they're worse. When equipped with only small consumables, you often have to choose which module to repair or which injured crew member to heal in a heat battle. This reduces efficiency and inhibits your performance. Here's the changes. Small first aid and repair kits will now function like their large counterparts, repairing all modules and healing all injured crew members. I like this, I think. I want to dislike it because I like the RNG of someone getting track and engine knocked out is just funny, but I think this is better for the game. Large repair and first aid gets an automatic fire extinguisher. Cooldown time decreases from 90 to 60 seconds, but only large consumables will provide extra bonuses such as 10% to repair speed and some others. This is good, but it does undermine the value of paying 10,000 for large consumables, right? Unless the buffs get considerably better, and I say 10,000 when you buy it on discount. Cost of the upgraded small repair kits kits will remain the same. So small repair kits you will still be able to purchase for 3,000, but they will repair all of your modules, which I think is really good. Quality and excellent fuel. We're making changes to fuel consumables. All currently existing types of fuel, 101 of 5, Lend-Lease oil and quality oil will be removed and replaced with new entities, quality fuel and excellent fuel. New consumables will provide a +5 and +10% boost to engine power and turret traverse speed for all vehicles. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, that means you can have 105 gasoline on a KV5. Additionally, we'll be removing the remove speed governor from the game. I won't be able to brake my own engine in my Object 279E. Oh yeah, also 105 on an EBR. This consumable was only available for Soviet and Chinese vehicles, serving as an analogue of the improved 105 gasoline, creating a certain imbalance among vehicles from other nations. With the introduction of a new fuel, it becomes redundant, will be deducted from all account. All credits that you spent on consumables will be compensated. WoT Plus update. WoT Plus subscribers can access a new informational system, Equipment Assistance. It reveals the most commonly used equipment on specific vehicles. Data is derived from service statistics we collect from each vehicle, helping you understand which equipment can improve your battle results. I don't mind this. This is the kind of thing I'd like to see WoT Plus implement more of. Less game-affecting things, less you're able to ban 68 maps. I'd like to see more of just sort of informational stuff and just bonuses. Maybe a WoT Plus subscription could get you access to a historical thing in the game where you get access to, I don't know, an animated sort of history of how the tank is built or something like that, or WoT Plus gets you access to new historical elements or something like that. Just something that doesn't affect your gameplay, but for people who are passionate about the game and the history of it is a boon, is something nice. That's what I would like. Battle Pass Season 6, last chance to redeem newly introduced vehicles, TT and a TS60, or to obtain previous ones. Vehicles! Okay, along with rebalancing, we're rebalancing a load of vehicles. Here are the changes. 59 pattern. Dispersion gets a lot better by 40% on turret traverse. That is ginormous. 40% is gargantuan. Aiming time, 1.9 to 1.7, decent buff. Alpha damage goes up from 240 to 280. Damage of the HE goes up in comparison. So alpha damage buff, stabilization and aim time goes up. Dispersion of movement and hold traverse by 13%, decent buff. Traverse speed of the Model 6, 26 to 30. 30 degrees a second is E75 traverse speed, just to give a concept. Aiming time from 2.8 to 2.6, decent buff. Traverse speed of the target, 24 to 28. Pen goes from 218 to 227. So it's now in line. This tank has pen matchmake, by the way. It's now in line with something like IS-28 or something like that. It's around that level. All proto. Traverse speed goes from 34 to 40. Huge gun traverse dispersion buff. But remember, that's not turret traverse. So gun traverse is the actual moving of the gun, as far as I know. Unless they mean turret traverse, I don't know. Reloading time of 100mm gun, 10 to 9 seconds. Look, anything 1 second or higher is a huge buff in DPM, regardless. Unless you're talking about something like RT or something, this is a really big buff for the tank. 38 to 42 on the traverse speed. 12 Ts. Okay, now we're getting into the French mediums leading up to the back chat. Dispersion from 0.42 to 0.4. Aiming time from 0.25 to 0.23. That is gargantuan. 148 to 174. This is a tier 6 tank. That's its premium shell. Standard shell goes from 108 to 133. That's a really significant buff. Really significant. Shell capacity from 36 to 44. That's nice. How are the engine? So it's faster. Overall, nice changes. I think it might be. It's not going to be too good. I think it'll be a good tank, because you can't say the 12T is good now. You can say it's average. 3075, 0.42 to 0.38. That's a 0.04 change. That is big. And 0.3 seconds off the aim time. Really significant for a French tank. Pen gets exactly the same buff as the previous one, but I'm guessing it has a better gun that it can use. Shell capacity from 44 to 48, 36 to 48. Okay, cool. And the engine buff as well, so it's faster. Yeah, they did need ammo changes. I'm hoping to see the AMX 1357 in here get a bit more ammo. Batcher 25T, tier 10 Batcher. Here we go. 90mm gun is gone. 100mm gun is gone. Dispersion by 18%. This is a significant buff. It's not ginormous, but it is a damn decent buff. 18%. That's like having a vertical stabilizer on the tank. And that is a really significant buff. Dispersion, 0.38 to 0.35. Dispersion on gun traverse decreased by 38%. Dispersion after firing by 25%. Aiming time from 2.7 to 2.4, and shell capacity from 30 to 50. This is honestly the biggest buff. Like 30 to 50, Batchat's gonna feel so much better now. It was always such a limitation. Honestly, this is big stuff for the Batchat. You can actually carry some heat shells now, and with intuition, like, really love to see the Batchat getting some love. 18% dispersion buff on the Batchat, like scout loadout the standard. Yeah, I mean, it's an autoloader, so you don't have to worry about gun ammo. MX ELC BIS, 75mm gun is gone. Dispersion of the 75 on 0.4 to 0.38. Aiming time gets a little buff as well. Okay. Fine, I don't play the ELC, so I can't really comment. Batchat 25 AP, 90mm gun is gone. Dispersion 0.28 to 0.26. Dispersion on gun traverse by 29%, huge. Gun traverse for the other gun, 29%. Dispersion after firing down by 14. Dispersion for the 100mm gun by 14. That's a decent damn buff. Aiming time from 0.27 to 0.21 of the 90mm gun. That is a huge aiming time buff. 0.6 is massive. Aiming time of the 100mm gone from 2.5 to 2.1. Again, a big buff. Let's see. Shell capacity from 42 to 60. Nice. Some minor stuff about cost and stuff. Doesn't look like it got a speed buff. Batchat 12T. Dispersion on gun traverse down by 17%. Reloading time from 24 to 21. It's a DPM buff. Aiming time from 2.3 to 2. That's decent. And pen of the 75mm gun from 182 to 198, and 144 to 159, and it gets an engine power buff. Okay, this one I'm worried about. Dispersion on during movement decreased by 23%. Reloading time 11.5 to 10.6, 0.9 seconds. That is a big buff. Aiming time of the 105mm gun 2 to 1.8. Vehicle durability from 1000 to 1200. That puts it in the upper echelon of tier 8 TD hit points, like behind the ATs and the Ferdinand. But that is significant. Germans. Speerpanzer up to the Rheinmetall Panzerwagen. Rahmenpanzer gets a buff. Pen goes up slightly, that's a decent buff. Damage goes from 240 to 280, and it gets a bit more engine power, so it might actually be able to ram people now. Who knows? Following vehicles have been added. Tornado Felice. American tanks. They've added a 75mm gun to the M4A1 Sherman. Some engines have been removed. Dispersion down by 17 for multiple configs. Dispersion 22%, again, adding vert stabs. Reloading time from 4.8 to 4.3. That is a decent buff right there. That is a damn decent buff. It's the 105 gun. I know, Tommy, I'm thrilled, to be honest. I think they did really well with the Batchat bus with most of this update, although you missed me earlier laughing my ass off at Lakeville. M4A3 Sherman, E8 Sherman, 76mm gun has been added. 105 gets removed. The M4A3 has no derp gun anymore. The 105 is gone, chat. It's gone. It's dead. By the way, the Mannheim water route got removed. No, it's still there now, Tommy. It's just official. Like, it's actually a path that you can move up. And as far as that goes, I like that. Dispersion of the 76mm gun, changing from 0.43 to 0.39, 43 to 0.38. Dispersion gets vert stabs. Reloading time from 4.2 to 3.6, and then 4.2 to 3.5. Big DPM buff. Sadly, you can't drown there as easily anymore. I know, right? Wait, Jimmy, me specifically? Or, like, view range from 330 to 360. Wow, okay. To be clear, I may be thinking of the wrong tank, but as far as I know, the view range limitation was actually a balancing factor of the top turret because it had way worse. The one with better view range had way worse armor. So if the one with better armor now has better view range, did the other turret get removed? I wonder. Don't know. T20. So just removing a lot of stock modules. Gotcha. Okay. Smooth lining it. Pattern. Add a new engine. Dispersion gets a little more accurate. Aim time gets even better and gets a little faster. Those are nice buffs for the pattern. I don't feel like the pattern is a bad tank, and this will just help make it a little better. I think the most significant buff there is definitely the speed. It's one thing when they're holding it back, but I like this. Pen from 128 to 143, 177 to 185 on the Sherman, and the Pershing. Hello, Pershing. So removing some modules. Dispersion gets buffed by 15%, 0.27 to 0.25. When you're loading time, 8.2 to 8 seconds on the upgraded turret, but it gets a nerf on the stock turret. Interesting. Aiming time from 2.3 to 2.1. The M46 pattern, removing some stock modules, including the 105 derp gun. Rest in peace. Big accuracy buff, going down to 0.34, 105, wait, no, it's still there, you just can't mount it on the turret. Okay. General accuracy buffs for all the guns and aim times are doing different things. Okay. USSR, here we go. T-34 gets a buff for the 76. I was gonna say, you buff the 57, we're gonna have problems. Velocity. Okay, shells get faster, interesting. Wow, that's a big pen buff. 147, 86 to 108, that's nice to see. These are the stock guns, by the way. And you use the 57 on the T-34 anyway, if you could. Object 430 V2, dispersion goes down. It gets vert stabs. Huge DPM buff. Huge DPM buff, 8 to 7.1, and then for this one gets cut by 0.4 seconds, and still continuing to buff the DPM on different turrets. Holy shit, aim time from 2.9 to 2.1, I imagine that's on the stock config, and then on the top with this gun, 2.1, then 2.3 to 2 seconds. Pen goes from 201 to 216, that's nice. And traverse limits has been removed. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a fully traversable turret on the Object 430 version 2. That is making it a dangerous tank, my dudes. Dispersion during movement of the IS-5 by 15%. Accuracy goes from 0.46 to 0.42. Dispersion decreased by 20, so it gets vert stabs. Aiming time 3.2 to 2.7. That is very big. K91. Reloading time. Damn. That is... that really is something. Hang on, let me... Okay, that is a... that solidifies the K91 as having the best DPM on any Russian medium tank, and it gets a fully traversable tank now as well. One thing I will say, this is a huge and very nice buff to the K91. You should have seen the buff they were going to give it before the CC said, fuck off. I don't know if it's still under NDA. It's on the Discord server, what they were discussing. Oh my god. Let me tell you, you think that's big? My god. Okay, A43. So modules 0.46 to 0.4, 0.46 to 0.28. 3.6 to 3.3 for the reloading time. Minor buff. Pen of the 76 goes from 86 to... So this is just upping the config of the stock A43, basically. It's nice. A44, 57. Hold up! The A44 gets a 57 ZIS. Am I with 85 millimeters of... Oh, no, that's damage. Okay. Does it get a fully traversable turret? Wait, it already had one, didn't it? It does have 180, the A44. Yeah, it does. Gun depression buff to -4. Gun depression to -4. Elevation angles for the 107. Interesting. Aiming to... The 107 gets buffed as well. More accurate. Better aim time. Ooh. And it gets a ZIS gun. Like, the ZIS guns are funny because they're like, it reloads in 2 seconds. That's gonna be interesting. I mean, I still like the 107. A44 gets 2,747 DPM. That's wild. 416. Okay. Dispersion of 100mm gun changed from 2.36. Hold up. When you're loading time from 8.7 to 6.8. Oh, it's the 250 alpha gun. Okay. Top Gun still does have better DPM. But still, that's a nice buff to the stock config. Changing from 201 to 216, and it gets a gun depression buff. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is my comprehensive overview of what is most likely the best patch in 5 or 6 years of the game, in my opinion. I think overall, this is a really, really good patch. There is a lot to love here, and they only made some very minor, outside of Onslaught, which I know nothing about, so I didn't comment on, they only made some minor missteps, which was primarily the rebalancing of Lakeville. I want to call it rebalancing. But yeah, it's, from what I can see, I really like this patch. I like the new events, I like the new tanks, I actually like the new perk system overall. It's the best version I've had of it. I like the vehicle rebalancing for the most part. I like what they've added to WoT Plus. Additional info thing is quite nice. It's not a tangible bonus that makes someone overpowered or able to complete missions easier. It's just a novelty thing, which is nice. But yeah, those are my thoughts on the patch. Thank you very much. Bye.
Peabody, cheers from Germany, man. Thought I'd had a couple silly verses, my friend. He is a nice guy like Ned Flanders, but wielding a band hammer that make viewers feel him like a gang member, yeah. You better never ever shoot versus the man, cause that's a jerk of his hand, hence you're a permanent ban, yep. Like in a roleplay game, you wield a dagger but get smashed.